In the United States and other democracies, people possess a variety of ways by which they can communicate their opinion to government officials. In turn, officials recognize the importance of public opinion and often change policy or have their positions bolstered by public opinion. In Chapter 6, we're going to take a closer look at public opinion and political socialization, how we come to have the political beliefs that we have. Public opinion itself is the aggregate of individual attitudes or beliefs shared by some portion of the adult population. A consensus exists when a large proportion of the public appears to express the same view on an issue. Divided opinion exists when the public holds widely different attitudes on an issue. Sometimes a poll shows a distribution of opinion indicating that most people either have no information about an issue or are not interested enough in the issue to form a position on it. People's opinions are formed through the political socialization process. Important factors in this process are family, educational experiences, peer groups, opinion leaders, the media, and political events such as the Great Depression and 9/11. For example, educational influence introduces people to ideas outside of the home and outside the local community. These ideas may influence the individual to accept opinions that are different from those of their parents. Here are a couple of examples of what we mean by consensus opinion. In this case, the question, do you think Russia's actions in the Ukraine are or are not a violation of international law? In this case, 81%. Overwhelming majority. That is consensus. Divided opinion. You see these numbers. 48% think it's likely that there would be a Cold War. 49% not. That is divided opinion. Very, very close numbers. The influence of the media as a socialization factor may be growing relative to the influence of the family. How topics are presented and which topics are presented have a huge impact on forming public opinion. The media helps to set the agenda setting. That's the case of which issues are talked about, which ones will get the attention. While new forms of media have supplanted newspapers and broadcast networks, it appears that talk radio, cable news, and blogs strengthen the beliefs of viewers rather than change those. Now let's move on to voting behavior. Party identification is one of the most important indicators of voting behavior. Voting behavior is also influenced by demographic factors such as education, economic status, religion, race and ethnicity, gender, and geographic region. For example, Democrats tend to get support from the Northeast and the West Coast. Republicans do well in the South, the Great Plains, and the Rocky Mountains. Perhaps more important is residence, urban, suburban, or rural. People in cities are typically liberal and democratic, while those who live in smaller communities tend to be conservative and Republican. Voting behavior also is influenced by election-specific factors such as perception of the candidates and issue preferences. For example, some voters may cast votes based on their own economic interests. Others will vote based on what is happening to the nation's economy as a whole. Issues such as health care and immigration also play a key role in elections. Now we'll spend a few moments talking about how public opinion is measured. Most descriptions of public opinion are based on the results of opinion polls. The accuracy of polls depends on sampling techniques. If they're done correctly, as in Gallup and Roper polls, in those polls about 1,500 people are surveyed in a nationwide survey, and they've proven to be very accurate. An accurate poll includes a representative sample of the population being polled and ensures randomness in the selection of respondents. A purely random sample means that every person in the defined population has to have an equal chance of being selected. Problems with polls include sampling error, the difficulty in obtaining a truly representative sample, issue of whether responses are influenced by the phrasing and order of questions asked, the use of a yes or no format for answers to the questions, and the interviewer's techniques. Please see the video on the TED Talk about polling for a more complete explanation of public opinion polls. Many people also are concerned about the use of push polls, in which questions push the respondent toward a particular candidate. Polls that rely on self-selected respondents are inherently inaccurate and should be discounted. Advances in technology have changed polling techniques over the years. During the 1970s, telephone polling became widely used. Today, largely because of extensive telemarketing, people often refuse to answer calls, and non-response rates on telephone polling have skyrocketed. Many poll takers also fail to include cell phone users. Due to the difficulty of obtaining a random sample in the online environment, internet polls are often non-polls. Public opinion affects the political process in many ways. The political culture provides a general environment of support for the political system, allowing the nation to weather periods of crisis. Political culture also helps Americans evaluate their government's performance. At times, the level of trust in government has been relatively high. At other times, the level of trust has declined. As we see in this graph, satisfaction, dissatisfaction, rises and falls fairly consistently. You see satisfaction, minor peak of 33% on election day. That number moves up and it moves down. Similarly, Americans' confidence in government institutions varies over time, depending on a number of circumstances. Generally, though, Americans turn to government to solve what they perceive to be the major problems facing the country. As you can see, people saying they trust, the institution they trust most is the military. That's been consistent from 1993 to 2012. Trust in other institutions in the public sector have gone down, but trust in the military stays at a high level. Public opinion also plays an important role in policy making. Although polling data show that a majority of Americans would like policy leaders to be influenced to a great extent by public opinion, politicians cannot always be guided by opinion polls. This is because respondents often do not understand the cost and consequences of policy decisions or the trade-offs involved in making such decisions. How issues are framed has an important influence on popular attitudes. Please use this video and your study guide to prepare for this week's quiz. Good luck.